On today's episode, we're going to focus on sales enablement. That's a pretty broad term, but more specifically, I'm bringing on a guest who successfully ran a promotion for sales to help get them more engaged on LinkedIn and with other marketing promotions. They're a pretty small company, but the tactics they use easily scale to larger organizations. So look at this as conceptual, even though how you implement it may look a little different depending on your company size. Great information here. Let's do this.
Welcome to Content Marketing Engineered, your source for building trust and generating demand with technical content. Here is your host, Wendy Covey.
Hi, and welcome to Content Marketing Engineered. On each episode, I'll break down an industry trend, challenge, or best practice in reaching technical audiences. You'll meet colleagues, friends, and clients of mine who will stop by to share their stories. And I hope that you leave each episode feeling inspired and ready to take action. Before we jump in, I'd like to give a brief shout out to my agency, True Marketing. True is a full service agency located in beautiful Austin, Texas, serving highly technical companies. For more information, visit truemarketing.com. And now on with our podcast.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Content Marketing Engineered. I'm joined today by Luke Wittenbraker. He's the Sales and Marketing Director at Mactech. Welcome to the show, Luke.
Thank you for having me.
I just saw you a few weeks ago here in Austin at the Industrial Marketing Conference. You did a wonderful job. And by the way, spoiler alert, your presentation was one of the highest ranked out of every presenter.
Well, thank you. I was speaking from the gut, which I tend to do and I hope to do today. So I guess it worked.
It worked. So I had to have you on the show so that we could share your experiences and your project with a broader audience.
Sure.
But before we do that, I also got to meet your dad. That was fabulous. Did he come in just to see you speak, or did he have business reasons to be around?
So yes, he did come in just to see me speak. He's proud of his son. We work together. I go to all my kids' sporting events, if at all possible now. He used to go to all of mine. So I think it was kind of like your kid's back in action, performing, gotta get on the bus and go see him. Full disclosure, we work with Gorilla 76, and he's very close with a lot of that crew as well. So I think it was a chance to break bread, or in this circumstance, bottles of red wine or tequila or beer or whatever they were drinking. So
nice.
Great crew over there. Y'all have a great crew as well. I met a lot of your folks, and it was just fun to not only learn but hang out with each other, which is what business is all about, right?
Absolutely. And you guys are up in Fort Worth area?
I'm in Fort Worth. He's in Minnesota, so he made a long.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And Minnesota weather is weird right now. It's like blizzard, 80 degrees, blizzard. So I don't know if he escaped a blizzard that weekend or week, but I'm sure the weather was awesome in Austin. So he got some good weather.
Yeah. And we get those same swings. They're just a few months, prior January.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, cool. Well, I'd like to start with a little bit of just context of where you came from, your career journey, and what led you to the role you have today. So let's start there.
Sure. And this is good because I actually told this story yesterday, so I have practice. I graduated from Texas Christian University with a business degree in marketing, and I went down to Austin, where you are, to work at a startup pharmaceutical device firm. It was a very early stage medical device company. I wanted to get into medical sales or sales of some sort, marketing and sales. And it was great. I learned a lot. I had about 8 or 9 months under my belt. It was also 2008, which, if you're listening to this podcast and you were alive then, was a very precarious time, if you've seen the movie like The Big Short, to be working anywhere, let alone a company that was like seeking more funding and round B's of funding. So I quickly got laid off from my first job, which was a good experience. Moved back up to Fort Worth. I stayed in kind of the pharmaceutical software sales, working inside sales, basically like smiling and dialing for 8 hours a day for 5 days a week.
Oof.
Yeah, oof is right, but it was a good experience, right? Like being able to pick up the phone and talk to people and deal with people saying no and celebrate people saying yes and figuring out how to break people and what words you need to say to get through to kind of the next level and how to sell the demo. Um, then I left, and this is topical now. I left there because they actually got acquired and had an IPO. So I got laid off, and then I was part of an IPO, and everything kind of changed to the structure of my job, and I hated it. So I left to become a landman, which is very
Oh,
topical to all the television watchers these days. And I actually
yeah,
haven't.
it's exactly like that too, right?
Well, I actually haven't watched the show, so I
Oh, you haven't?
can't compare. And I did that for a while, and then I left there because I think I was kind of underworked in what I was doing. I just didn't have enough responsibility. I can't imagine my 25-year-old self saying that, but maybe I was smart enough to realize it. But I went to Dallas, and I was not the founder, but I was kind of the second guy in the door to probably somewhere like True and you guys started, to a company called Reap Marketing. Now it's called Reap Commerce. It was a digital marketing firm.
Mm.
Started with the founder on his dining room table of his house, moved to little tables at coffee shops, moved to a co-sharing space office, moved to an office of our own, started with him and then us two and then five and then 10 and then 20 employees. And it was just really cool to see. And in that, you mentioned my father already. Who's the easiest client customer you can sell to? It's your dad. Mactech actually came on as a customer because I said, you guys need marketing. You need digital marketing. We can do that for you. And brought him on as a client, spent like 2 years working with Mactech I was their project manager or whatever, account director, whatever it's called these days. And so I kind of spent 2 years working for and with Mactech before Joel, my dad, and I finally looked ourselves in the eyes and was kind of like, I like working with you. I like working with you. And it's like, well, do you want to work with me more than this? And kind of crunch some numbers. It's like, well, this is how much you're paying Reap to do this. Do you want to pay me like a little bit more than that to do that plus more? And so that was the birth of becoming I thought the marketing director of Mactech. And then about 5 days later, Joel surprised me and said, hey, you're also the sales director.
Oh, okay. I've done that before, sort of.
So, and here I am 12 years, 13 years later, I think, really. So I guess it's like 15 years working there because 2 were working with them and 13
Right.
directly working with Mactech. And I'm still trying to figure out what I'm going to do next, but I've been here a long time, enjoy what I'm doing. I don't directly manage our sales force anymore. I've actually delegated that, and I think that's important to think about, but definitely buried in the high level sales stuff and the trenches of marketing every day.
Okay. So when it comes to marketing, you still wear a lot of the doer hats, it sounds like. And then on the sales side, you have that second in command.
See that?
Oh, I see all the hats. Look at you.
That's
I see your horn frog hat
yeah,
mixed in there. Should I get my Aggie hat out?
there. I won't wear it, but no, I mean, we're a small, you've seen it. You probably see it with a lot of your clients. We're a small, mid-size industrial marketing company. We have 1.5 marketing people in our organization. We have me and a engineering guy named Jeff, who's great and super creative, but he's in charge of building spec sheets and instruction manuals. And then like when I get
Wow.
free time from him, we make stickers and hats and graphics for the website and stuff. So I get jealous of SaaS companies out there that have teams of like 12 people and a content creator and a camera person and a microphone person to go with the camera
I
person.
don't run into too many that go that far, but I hear
I
you.
know.
I hear you. I've seen both sides of it for sure because I've been on the big corporate side where Marcom, just Marcom, not product marketing, Marcom, 250 people.
Right. I'm like,
Can you imagine? I mean, You know what I find interesting is usually when you see someone that's over sales and marketing, they almost always come up through sales. And then the struggle when you talk about sales and marketing alignment is getting that leader to understand, appreciate, and get excited about marketing.
Right.
And so you, if anything, are a little bit the opposite.
Right. And I was actually thinking about that last night when I was coming into this, just kind of some nights I can't sleep and I think about conversations that will happen the next day. That's pretty much every night. But I did. Well, actually, I told you I worked inside sales at other jobs. So I've always been entrenched in kind of both. But coming into Mactech, like you said, like truly I was marketing, 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 and then sort of injected myself in sales. And I think because we're smaller, you have that chance to like force that sales and marketing alignment, like because you're managing both and because you have relationships on both sides of the aisle. And I've actually organically seen how that has sort of, I don't want to say disappeared, like fizzled a little bit, because I actually had a moment in my life like 2 years ago where I was like, I'm managing all of the salespeople and I'm managing outside marketing agencies and performance marketers and creative marketers that are outside agencies and videographers. And like, I'm the sales and marketing director, but I'm also only giving like 50% of my skill set, time, energy, productivity, whatever, to like both sides of that. And I promoted a guy named Derek, who's been here since he was 18 years old, to be our sales manager. And so now he is the sales manager that manages the team and does pipeline review and knows exactly what's going on with every deal, which is what I had been tasked with before. And I almost, when I say fizzled, I now feel less attached to like the sales team than I used to be. Like they say, elevate and delegate. Find someone that's really good at doing something and have them do it. And that's what Derek's doing. But at times someone's like, well, what's going on with this job or this client? And I'm like, I don't know.
Talk to Derek. Talk to
Yeah.
Derek.
But like,
That's a success. Yeah.
talk to Derek, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, I wish I knew. I miss it. I don't talk. I used to talk to
There's only
sales
so
team.
many hours in a day, though, Luke.
Right.
So sounds
I
like you're
mean,
making wise choices.
we're
Um,
trying.
yeah. So tell me, so when you presented a lot about how to bring sales and marketing together, and you had a specific promotion or project that you did to do it. So why was it important to you?
Why was why was what important to me? I'm sorry.
Bringing sales and marketing together
Oh,
and making sure sales was supporting, marketing campaigns and
right.
promotions and digital marketing.
There's so many times I think, and maybe I think the industrial world struggles with it a little more. And it's kind of I mean, there was a few jokes um, and just like broad sweeping strokes thrown into my presentation, but I think it rings true with a lot of the audience because it is true. It's kind of like the industrial marketing stereotype, I guess, is that you have a lot of older sales guys or gals that have come up through roles that didn't start as salespeople. They started as a technician, or they started as an ops guy, or they started as something else, and then all of a sudden it's like, we need someone to go sell this, and you know what it is, so like, can you go sell it? But they haven't necessarily come up through the pipeline. And I'll go back to like SaaS companies who like get out of college and get into the marketing whiz bang and know what LinkedIn is and know how to get out there and promote themselves, and they just come from different backgrounds. And I think I saw that and just realized that not everybody will always be on the same page, but the more we can craft like a system to put everybody on the same page, the better. And we're still not perfect at it. I mean, we could have better organized pictures and better organized things that people want, but we at least try to always promote being open and honest about what we're doing and how we can be better at it.
So it sounds like a lot of this was training with the salespeople on how to utilize digital tools like LinkedIn in order to build their personal brand, promote the product. What was
Yeah.
the end goal?
The end goal is just to personal brand, product, corporate brand, just like get our, I'm not saying like I will say it, like shotgun blast our message out there and make sure we are getting in front of the most amount of eyeballs as we can. Because I truly believe that our sales team, and again, I can't speak for every organization, our sales team are like really good humans that are really good at talking to other humans and good people and want to succeed and want to succeed for their customer. And if you can just continually remind customers that you exist, then they will pick up the phone and they will like call that human when the time comes that they need something, right? But you don't want to just disappear between, in our business too, is like you might have a job in 2025 and the next big job that might be like a $500,000 job might not be till like 2027. So you don't want to disappear until January 1st of 2027 and then just call back. You have to keep kind of drip marketing yourself into their lives. And I think you can do that on a personal level, even more so than just email newsletters and the whole marketing gamut that you and I think about when we do it. Yeah. So that's really the end goal for like the personalized, not even outreach, but just like publicization. That's not a real word.
It's humanizing those touches and keeping people warm. And you mentioned at the beginning about breaking bread with people you work with. And it's, obviously one step shy of that. They're not just, hey, let's go to dinner. That's not really so much a thing anymore. And it's become this less expensive, but still personal touch through LinkedIn, things like that. So one of the things that I loved about your presentation is you talked about what motivates salespeople, and you have this awkward moment where I think you asked the room and it was kind of quiet, but it was like, I think I know where he's going here, but as marketers, we're uncomfortable to say the word. So I'll just ask you, Luke, what motivates salespeople?
Money.
Yes. And I think that it's so obvious and fundamental, but marketers aren't paid that way, right? We're not incentivized that way. So we don't necessarily think about that. We're putting together a sales spiff or just programs oriented towards sales enablement, these formal terms. So tell me about like when the rubber hits the road, what you put together, how you did it, and how money was a part of it.
I'll be honest, like we talked about at the beginning, I'm in a pretty good spot where I manage the sales and marketing team. So I have, I understand their compensation plans. I mean, ultimately my goal for us, when I talk to a salesperson, I had a sales guy that had been working in like an inside sales position and promoted last year. And I literally told him at the beginning of the year, I want you to make a shit ton of money this year. And
heck yeah.
And he hustled and he went out there and just like crushed it, and he did. And like I joked around in that presentation too about like CFOs being upset when marketers spend too much or like when marketers spend too much money or asking for the ROI. But like if you have a good compensation plan for a salesperson, them making a lot of money should make the company a lot of money as well. So it's fun to see your CFO's feathers get a little ruffled when someone's making a lot of money or something. But I think when it reverts back to marketing, and I think I sort of touched upon it in the presentation, and I don't do it as much anymore, but I used to like try to like put values on leads that came in. Because and again, as the sales guy, like I know maybe not all marketers know, like I can ballpark a lead that comes in and say that's a $30,000 lead, that's a $500,000 lead. But then I can say, I know this guy makes 4% commission on paid invoices, and I can say, hey, Mo, this is a $30,000 deal for you. Like that pricks up his ears and says, ooh, I'm gonna, not that they don't work hard on every deal, but if you can entice people and like talk in their language, then it helps.
No, making it tangible. Absolutely.
You make it tangible, you make it to what rewards them. Like you said, not a lot of marketers are paid that way. Maybe they should be. Maybe we have something here in this conversation.
Wait, Luke, did you go to the attribution sessions in the keynote?
Yeah.
That's the trouble, having metrics that we can rely on to and
We,
against. You don't want to drive the wrong behavior, though. That's a whole nother podcast right there. You know what? I remember, so back in my corporate days, I'll never forget, we had more or less all of our products fell into the same price point. And then all of a sudden, this new product line came out that was like 4 times as expensive. And what did the salespeople do? They went, wait, I could sell 4 times fewer and make the same money. And so all of a sudden, everybody's time and energy gravitated toward the expensive products and away from these other ones. So much so that it had to become a whole business shift in how the company marketed and sold what they ended up calling transactional products versus system level products. And so I see what you mean. I mean, it's the financial piece of this drives so much behavior.
I told you about smiling and dialing for a pharmaceutical software company, and I was struggling a little, and my cousin, who's 10 years older than me, was in software sales, not pharmaceuticals, but I'll keep this story short because I can go long. But I was struggling, so I went and I was like, "Can I buy you a beer? I just need help." And he's like, "Yeah, tell me what, like, tell me about the products." I was like, "Well, there's this product A that's like where you sell it, you make 10% on it, and like if you can get them to a demo, I can close 50% of those." He's like, "All right, well, stop selling the product, sell the demo. Just sell demos to people, sell demos. Think about it like that." I was like, "Oh, I never really thought about that." And that helped.
Right.
And I was like, there's also product A that's like the company says is kind of this like shoe hole in the door. Like if someone buys it, they'll probably buy something later. And he's like, "What's your commission on that?" And I was like, "Nothing." And he's like, "Well, stop selling that."
Right. Even though it's, more
He's
lucrative for the company.
Like, you have product A, you have product B. Guess what? You're not selling either of them. You're selling demos. Go sell demos.
Go sell demos.
And it was like a change of mindset that shaped. I still think about that. Like, what is your next step in your sales or marketing process, and how do I get them there? And everybody's always looking at the finish line when you need to like market the demo or whatever the demo is for your organization. Like, how do you get Luke on this podcast? Do you buy him a beer in Austin? Go sell beer to people in Austin or whatever it is.
Done.
Yeah. Free beer.
Well, so extrapolating out a little bit, if I'm a marketer, say for a product family that's not getting attention from sales, and I'm struggling, and I gave them all the right content, I gave them this great PowerPoint deck, maybe what they need to do is meet with sales leadership and have a sales promotion that helps them think about that product differently and be incentivized differently.
I agree. And I hit on that too. We're talking about commission and money, but I think incentives I talked about it going back to my presentation because this is where this conversation started, but like incentives especially from marketing, you don't control a sales guy's commission plan, right? Like, I don't think anybody's joking that unless you're special like me and sit in the sales and marketing seat, but you do have a budget for, or you can craft a budget for gift cards or a round of golf or beers in Austin or t-shirts or hats that, hey, we are incentivizing the market, we're trying to sell more of this product. We're going to have a competition or just think about it more or talk about it more or put it out in front of us so we all think about it more. Whoever sells the most of product A gets 3 rounds of golf on the marketing team or on the organization. Hey, Mr. CFO or whoever you report to, can I get $600 in the budget to give to the sales team if we can sell more of product A? I think you're going to get a yes, or I think you're going to get like let's try it and see if it works. So you can think about money in different ways and not always be trying to like affect the commission plan of a salesperson, because that's where we always go to, or at least that's where the initial thought goes to.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good point. Because this is like, a yes, and, I already have my commission plan, but then there's this extra
Right.
sweetener on top of it. We used to run, so I was in charge of this big user conference called NI Week, and we used to run this registration promotion. And the regional team that had the most growth of attendees got a party in it, and then we'd have individual performance and prizes for that. So very similar. And in order to even run that contest, I went to their meetings and I had signs up on the wall with like a thermometer, like that showed how far they were from goal. And it just tried to keep it top of mind.
Right.
Yeah.
I've said it again 3 times now, but always comparing to like the golden goose on LinkedIn to me is always like the sauce sellers, and they have their president's clubs and things like that. Like we don't do that, and I don't think we ever will. But you can still incentivize people with materialistic items that they will enjoy, and like even a night out with their spouse to have a steak dinner or a chicken wing dinner goes a long way, and they get to celebrate with their family for what, like $80 to $100. Well, now with inflation probably more than that, but like $100.
Yeah.
$100 goes a long way when you really like turn it into a true incentive that means something and matters.
So for you guys, you ran a LinkedIn promote contest. I guess I'll call it a contest. What would you call it? Promotion
uh,
thing?
yeah, it was a competition contest
Yeah.
thing.
And I appreciated how you started small, right? You started with just, was it just comment, just be
Yeah,
active.
yeah. Comment, repost, or I think it was if you want to start real small, like the corporate account, like the company account, post, comment, repost, post your own, organic content.
And then you tracked each of their activities
Yeah,
and
for like a month, we tracked that activity. Someone actually asked me about this after the conference. They're like, "Well, how did you get a piece of software?" And I was like, "No, I just stalk because you can
manually.
stalk someone's LinkedIn account and like see what they like comments. I just man, I only have 12 people on my team.
Yeah.
I did it in a spreadsheet, and I probably wasted time, or AI could probably do it right now if I asked it to, but it was an hour's worth of work that was worth its weight in gold of just like getting people more involved and getting people excited about it.
Yeah. And then your winner, how active did he become?
He became the most active, at least in the competition. He won, but not like there was no like landslide win on his behalf. But after he must have, I actually owe him a follow up after I gave a whole presentation on him. But after that, he just kept like organically doing it. Like it just became part of his cadence, part of his lifestyle at work. He kind of went above and beyond to keep doing it, and not just like keep doing what he was doing, but really like really grow what he was doing. I mentioned in my presentation, we have a showcase page, which is just like we kind of have two brand identities. One's for offshore underwater cutting and one's for land-based work. And he works in the offshore office, and all of a sudden I just like started seeing these posts on the offshore page. I didn't even know he had access to that account. And
Oh, wow.
yeah, either I don't think he hacked into it. He got it, or I gave it to him and forgot about it long ago, and he just started posting, and it was awesome.
So you changed behavior not just because of incentives, but long term. He saw the benefit and you
Right.
changed the long term behavior. That's
And
amazing.
I think the most important thing to think about is that he liked doing it. Like
Yeah.
he wasn't doing it because I asked him to do it. He wasn't doing Yes, he was probably doing it because he saw some value out of it, but like I think if you read some of the posts he posts, like he really just enjoyed sharing what we were doing as an organization or on a project or like making a happy customer. And I think that's important too, because it brings that human element of marketing out, not just here is what we did on this project. It was like, check out this cool job we did in Bruce.
Yeah. Here I am in the field,
Yeah, like check it out. This was cool.
look
We
at
like
this
making
thing.
happy customers, and I think there's
Oh,
I think that speaks, and this is before, people talk about AI slop type stuff. This was well before that, but there's still people that just have a stiff writing. You work with a lot of engineers, that sometimes you have to like pull them out of their shell or box a little bit to get a little bit creative or emotional about something.
that is the truth. Well, Luke, for marketers listening that are struggling to get attention from sales, to get them on board, what advice do you have?
You just have to like get down and work in the trenches with them. I know I come from like a point of privilege in that. I struggle to talk about it because I am the son of the boss. That doesn't help because they're just going to talk to me because they have to. I managed the sales team for a long time, so they feel like I was there. I still am kind of like a direct report above a direct report. But when I started here, I didn't say you had to do this. I started going to all the trade shows with them. I started going and visiting offices and talking to them and asking them where their pain was. It's almost like what we're supposed to do for our customers, right? We're supposed to, as a marketer, you're supposed to call a customer and talk to them and ask them where their pain is and what we can do to solve that pain.
Yeah.
And like you have to treat the sales team a little bit in the same way. You can't just feel like you're banging your head against the wall. You have to like get down in the weeds with them and talk to them. I know it's harder than it can be because there's people that say, well, I want to go on a customer ride along, and they say, yeah, maybe sometime, and get brushed aside. It's almost like you have to put yourself in a sales seat, right? Like if you're in sales and you're cold calling a customer, you can't be annoying, but you also can't just be like, oh, well, they didn't answer, so I'm just going to give up, right? Like sometimes in sales it takes, there's there's probably a factoid out there that I don't know right now, but it takes 12 to 15 touch points to get someone on the other end of the line. And you might have to take that same mentality with your sales team if you're a marketer and put your sales hat on. This is my pickles hat, but today it's my sales hat. Put your sales hat on and say, you know what? I'm going to keep following up with Wendy until she makes time for me. If you're in sales or if you're setting up podcasts with people, like you're not just going to ask, hey, Luke, do you want to be on my podcast? You're going to ask me, and if I respond, but don't give you a date, you're going to follow up and follow up and follow up until I either give you a date or tell you to get out of my face and go away.
I'm so glad you didn't do that.
I didn't do that. But I think you just got to put yourself in, put your sales hat on a little bit and like step into their shoes and treat it as that type of thing.
Yeah. And I like what you said about coming at it from understanding their struggles, their pain points, their life before coming with an ask. I think that is a great trust building bonding
Right.
thing. Yeah.
And I think in that you sort of have the chance to share your pain points and struggles when you truly get in those organic conversations.
Yeah. All right. Well, excellent advice. Thank you so much for sharing your experience with this, and both here and back in Austin at the Industrial Marketing Summit. So really appreciate it. If people want to connect with you and learn more about Mactech, where's the best place they can go to do that?
You can find me on LinkedIn, Luke Wittenbraker. You can call me 817-771-0420.
That's brave.
Yeah, well, I answer, so call me. No, my phone's always open if people need like help or support. I might not answer if you try to sell me something unless you call me 12 to 15 times. But
There you go. By the 15th, that's the tipping point. Now we know.
no, but I'm always open to help. Several people from the summit reached out shortly after, and it's just fun to connect with people and share experience and help each other out. And I met people there that I've reached out to that have helped me really quickly and immediately. So it's really cool to see the community really just band together and give each other a high five and assist.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Well, thanks for your time today, Luke.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining me today on Content Marketing Engineered. For show notes, including links to resources, visit truemarketing.com/podcast. While there, you can subscribe to our blog and our newsletter and order a copy of my book, Content Marketing Engineered. Also, I would love your reviews on this podcast. So please, when you get a chance, subscribe and leave me your review on your favorite podcast subscription platform. Thanks and have a great day.